admission and the Zhongkao Senior High School entrance examination is the academic examination held annually in China to distinguish junior graduates. Generally speaking, students will be tested in Chinese, mathematics, English, physics, chemistry, political science, and PE. However, the scoring system may change and vary between different areas. Admission for senior high schools, especially selective high school, is somewhat similar to the one of the universities in the China. The student will go through an application system where they may choose the high school at which they wish to study in order to their preference before the high school set out their entrance requirements. Once this is completed, and the high school will announce their requirement based on the information and the place they will offer in that year. For instance, if the school offers 800 places in that year, the results offered by the 800th intake student will be the standard requirements. So effectively, this ensures the school selects the top candidates in all the students who have applied to said school is that academic year. However, the served competition only occur in this very top high school. Normally, most students will have sufficient result for them to continue their secondary education if they wish to. There are other official rules of admission in certain top high school. If a prestigious senior high school wants to admit 800 students a year, the admission officer ranks students scores from highest to lowest, and they select their first 700 students. The other 100 positions are provided to the students who do not meet the required standard but still want to study at the school. These prospects need to pay extra school fees. The student can't perform badly in Zhongkao. If their scores are close to the required standard, they could still study in their top school if they can afford the expense. Those who study in the high school must place a maximum of 2 points below the standard requirement. Usually 0.5 points is a standard. For instance, if a student is 2 points below the standard requirement, they pay 4 times as much as the student who got 0.5 points below the standard requirement. The admission of the 100 students who are required to pay the school fees usually do not get the same admission letter as normally students receive, but they can still study and live with the normal students in the same high school with the same teachers. Vocational and technical schools. The law on vocational education was issued in 1996. Vocational education embraces higher vocational schools, secondary skills schools, vestibular schools, vocational high schools, job finding centers, and other adult skill and social training institute to enable vocational education to better accommodate the demand of the economy and restructuring and urbanization. In recent years, the government has remodeled vocational education oriented toward the obtaining employment and focusing on the two major vocational education projects to meet society ever more acute demand for high quality skilled workers. These are cultivating skilled workers urgently needed in modern manufacturing and service industries and training rural laborers. Moving on to the urban areas, the accelerate vocational education in western areas. The central government has used government bonds to build 186 vocational education centers in improvised western areas. Countries, both regular and vocational secondary schools sought to serve modernization needs. A number of technical and skilled worker training schools reopened after the Cultural Revolution, and an effort was made to provide exposure to vocational subjects in general secondary schools by offering courses in the industry, services, businesses, and agriculture. By 1985, there were almost 3 million vocational and technical students. Under the educational reform, tenets Polytechnic College were to give priority to admitting secondary, vocational, and the technical school graduates and providing one on the job training for the qualifying workers. Education reform continuing to the press for the conversion of the about 50% of upper secondary education into the vocational education, which traditionally had been weak in the rural areas. Regular senior middle school were to be converted into the vocationally middle school, and the vocational training classes were to be established in some senior middle school. Diversions of students from the academic to the technical education was intended to alleviate skill shortage and to reduce the competition for the university enrollment. Although the enrollment in technical schools of the various kinds had not yet increased enough to compensate for decreasing the enrollments in the regular senior middle schools, the proportion of vocational and technical students to total senior middle school students increased from the about 5% in 1978 to almost 36% in 1985. Although development was uneven, further to the encourage greater number of the junior middle school graduates to enter technical schools. With vocational and technical schools graduates were given priority in job assignment, while other job seekers had to take the technical test. In 1987, there were four kinds of secondary vocational and technical school. First, technical school, which offered a 4-year post-junior middle courses and 2 to 3-year post-senior middle training in such a field as commerce, legal work, fine arts, and forestry. Second, worker training schools, which accepted students whose senior middle school education consisted of 2 years of the training in such a trades as carpentry and welding. Three, vocational training technical schools, which accepted either junior or senior middle school students for 1 to 3 years courses in cooking, tailoring, and photography, other services. And fourth, agriculture middle school, which offered basic subjects and agriculture sciences. These technical age schools had several hundred different programs. Their narrow specialization had advantage in that they offered in-depth training and reducing the need for one on-the-job training, and thereby lowering the learning time and cost. Moreover, the students were more motivated to study if they were linked between the training and the future jobs. Much of the training could be done at the existing enterprises where staff and equipment was available at a little additional cost. There were some disadvantages to this system. However, under the former modernization, technically training to generality were needed more than highly specialized technicians. Also, highly specialized equipment and staff were understaffed, and there was an overall shortage of specialized facilities to conduct training. In addition, large expenses were incurred in providing the necessary facilities and staff, and trend in some government technical agencies was toward more general technical and vocational education. Further, the dropout rate continued to have a negative effect on the labor pool as a per secondary school training technical student drop out as the percentage of lower secondary school graduate entering the labor market without job training increased. Occupational rigidity and the geography immobility of the population, particularly in rural areas, further limited educational choices. Although there were 8,000 new polytechnic schools enrollment in 1985, the 75-year plan called for annual increase of 2 million mid-level skilled workers and 400,000 senior age technicians, indicating that the enrollment levels were still far from sufficient to improve the situation. In July 1986, officials from the State Education Commission, State Planning Commission, and Ministry of Labor and Personnel convened a national conference on developing China's technical and vocational education. It was decided that the technical and vocational education in rural areas should accommodate local candidates' condition and be conducted on a short-time basis. Where conditions permitted, the emphasis would be placed on the organizing the technical schools and short-term training classes to alleviate the shortage of the teacher and vocational and technical teachers. College were to be reformed and the college universities were to be mobilized for assistance. The state councils decided to improve the training for the worker who had passed technical examination was intended to reinforce the development of the vocational and technical schools. Expanding and improving the secondary vocational education has long been an objective of the China's educational reforms. For vocational schools are seen as those which are best placed to address the rising needs of the nation and the expanding economy, especially its manufacturing and industrial sector. Without an educated and trained workforce, China cannot have economic and hence science, social and national development. Yet, given a finite and often quite limited part of the money for the secondary school allocation, competition, conflict necessities exist between its two subsectors, general education and vocational technical education. Regardless, at overall enrollment in the latter has been the overall result of the mid-1980s reform. Yet firms that must seek workers from this graduate pool have remained unimpressed with the quality of the recruits and have had to rely on their own jobs training programs that provide re-education for their newly hired workers. The public also has not been very enthusiastic about the vocational secondary education, which, unlike general education, does not lead to the possibilities of higher education. The public perception is that these schools provide little more than a dead end for their children. Also, vocational institutions are more expensive to run their counterpart in general education, and they have not had sufficient money to modernize their facilities. As China's modernizing national economy demand by mid-decade of the 21st century, therefore, academic and the policy maker alike began to the education the policy that pour funds into the vocational schools had do not do their intended function.